wow. I look like I just woke up. All right, you guys. Hello. Welcome to just getting myself together a little bit here. All right. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics, you guys. Let me tell you what this show is about. So, this show is about the real talk, right? We like to have real talk about things that are happening in education, employment, mental health, social services, or anything else that is steamy. We like to have that open dialogue about things we like to keep quiet about, and we like to put it all out there in the open. But all of this is for the purpose of education. This is not your gossip show. This is not gossip hot topics. This is education hot topics. And today, I am excited about today. I know I am excited about every show that we do, but today I'm particularly excited because we are going to have a continuation of a previous discussion. So we are bringing back a topic and we are bringing back a guest. There were some technical issues last time, so my guest is courteous enough to come back on the show, and was just a sort of a redo episode, but it's still out there. I'm not taking it down. So what am I talking about? What am I rambling about? Let me tell you what I'm rambling about. So the topic that we are bringing back today is Cuddle Party, but I gave it an interesting extension. It's Cuddle Party Part 1B, right? So the previous one is Part 1A. So this is a kind of a redo, and this is Cuddle Party 1B. So today we are going to talk about cuddle parties. What are they? What's entailed? All that. So, when I first learned about this topic, I was like, what? I had the wrong thoughts come to my head. So, but today we are going to talk about what exactly is a cuddle party and what does that entail. And I have a guest with me who's going to help me out. He's technically a returning guest. So he is a returning guest, and we're going to try this again. His name is Adam Paulman, and I'm just going to remind you about who he is. So let's get to it. Who is Adam Paulman? Let me remind you about who he is. So Adam Paulman has been a facilitator of workshops, trainings, festivals, and multi-day events for over 40 years. He is fascinated by group dynamics and the elements that support cohesion and purpose. He is a certified Cuddle Party facilitator and trainer, as well as a member of the Cuddle Party Board of Directors. Adam studied NVC with Marshall Rosenberg and is a ZEG forum facilitator, as well as a veteran of 20 years in public school. It is his greatest joy to assist others to achieve what they didn't know was possible. Adam likes to describe Cuddle Party as, quote, an advanced communication workshop cleverly disguised as a pajama party. Cuddle Party provides the medium for platonic affection in a touch-deprived world. The rules of cuddling are simple in scope and revolutionary in practice. Many describe the communication skills learned at a cuddle party as life-changing. Adam has degrees in mathematics and multicultural education. San Diego is home, but Adam loves to travel. When he is not facilitating cuddle parties around the globe, he likes to spend time with his children and grandchildren and play bass guitar. Wow, fabulous. All right, so let's get right to it. I'm going to bring him to the stage right now. Hey, how you doing today?
Hi, Gabrielle. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. We're up for round two. So let's
Yeah,
do
so
this.
that's what we say. Oh, it's exhausting
All
listening
right.
to
So
you
let
read all of that. I'm wondering, like, who is this person?
you have a wealth a wealth of a background, a wealthy background. Is that the right phrase?
Yeah, who knew that was going to happen? Yeah.
Mm. All right, so let's get to it. So let's start with the basic question. What is it? What is a cuddle party?
Well, that's an easy question and a complex answer. Um, sort of um, literally, sort of how Cuddle Party lives in the world. Cuddle Party is a registered trademark for an organization, and the mission statement is such that I want to read it instead of just drawing because I'll forget something. And probably the most important part, Cuddle Party Inc. Inc. It's first of all, you need to know that it is a 501c3 um, charitable organization. Let me pull this down. And like I said, I want to make sure I don't leave something out.
Yeah, please take
Here we
your
go.
time.
501c3 nonprofit charitable organization. The real important part about that is that your donations are tax deductible. We'll send you a little thing at the end of the year. And the mission and purpose is to promote and enable empowered consent, choice, and nurturing touch. We do this by training and certifying facilitators who produce cuddle parties, which is a workshop and where we can practice that, and other related events. So we train people to produce cuddle parties, but we also train people to be facilitators in general
Okay.
for events that are similar in scope and the intent to what Cuddle Party has to offer. So that's kind of the official version of it. And we'll repeat this a couple of times, the donate here button. If you go to cuddleparty.com/donate, it'll bring you to a place where we're happy to receive donations from you to help us further the mission along.
Awesome, awesome. Well, let's talk more about it. We got to give people a reason to donate. So let's start with another simple question. How would you, or how does your organization define cuddling?
Wow, that's a great question, and thank you for bringing it up. Cuddling is a broad term in terms of touch and not touch. One of the rules of a cuddle party is you don't have to cuddle with anyone you don't want to ever. And that means not classically cuddling at all. I've had people come to a cuddle party here at my house, and one gentleman in particular said, I'm going to sit in a chair here and I'm not going to do any of the activities. I'm just going to watch. That is full participation because it's about choosing and learning what it is you want and how to vocalize that or communicate that in a way that you're most likely to receive what you want. There was another woman who was at a cuddle party, again, here at the house. And I have this big beanbag chair thing. And she got over in that and she said, I feel kind of sleepy. I'm going to take a nap. And she slept through the whole thing. Again, full participation. Now, cuddling can involve touch. It could involve, would you listen to me talk? I've got something on my mind. Just don't respond. Just listen. Full participation. So we take a very broad view of what cuddling is. Anything from people get the idea this means laying down and, belly to back, arms wrapped around, and, it can be that. And, people will choose that if that's what they want. But it can be a wide range of things, all the way to taking a nap, observing, and then on the other side, holding hands, eye gazing, listening, hugging. Whatever it is that it is alive in you, you're encouraged to express that and find out if somebody's willing to join you or observe you in that.
Okay. So, when I first heard about cuddle parties, and I mentioned this in our part 1A, I immediately thought it's an orgy. I immediately thought it's a sex thing. Um, is and you're saying it's nothing like that.
Not in the least. And that question comes up all the time. Oh, this must be code words for something sexy.
Mhm.
No, it's not. Rule one: pajamas stay on the whole time, and uh, a cuddle party is not a sex party. One of the ways we keep it that way is by not taking our clothes off, but we also keep it that way through communication and through setting boundaries. This is one of the reasons why facilitators need to be specifically trained. What do you do if people get all hot and bothered over in the back of the room? How do you approach that? And how do you guide people into something that's more platonic and nurturing and less sexual?
So it's a wide range of things. So just to put the full picture out there, so cuddle party, it could just be, someone taking a nap, like you said, or someone just sitting and watching, like you said. Or if someone wants to participate, it could be holding hands, holding each other, belly to back or back to back. Is it back to back? No. Yeah, it's belly to
You can do
back.
back to back. This is a great sitting with somebody back to back and then rocking back and forth is a wonderful way to engage in nurturing touch, nurturing connection.
So what is it? Because I read in the bio, when I was reading your bio, you talked about a touch deprived world. Tell us about that.
You know, um, I, I, I think there's a ton of research in this, and I'm not going to try to recall and repeat the research in this, but just an anecdotal experience. If you're not in a relationship with somebody, you're probably not getting touched.
Hmm.
And if you are in a relationship with somebody, it's very likely that your touch will move to a sexual connection. In that
Hmm.
place in between not touching at all and being held in a way that's nurturing and supportive is the place that Cuddle Party likes to be.
Hmm.
Um, and what's interesting is that people who are in relationships, in physical relationships, are as apt to be deprived of this kind of nurturing touch as somebody who's alone.
Yeah.
We've had people come to cuddle parties who are in relationship, in a marriage. Their partner doesn't like nurturing touch. They like either no touch at all or let's get it on, in that place in the middle where people have a longing. And this is one person in particular who came to cuddle parties with the consent and encouragement of their life partner. It's like, I don't want to do that. So
Hmm.
you can go to
Yeah.
a cuddle party and you can have your experience and then come home to me.
So it's a chance for, it's also an opportunity for relationship building. Is that what you're saying?
Um, I think it's supportive of people who are in all kinds of or no relationship at all. It's supportive of in the keywords, and these are in the mission statement: consent and choice. Learning to know what you want, and then being able to communicate that in a way that other people can understand that is really important and kind of at the heart of what Cuddle Party is.
Yeah. So is it safe to say that your mission is kind of emphasizes the importance of touch? So when I heard you talking, I was thinking of how like when babies are born, the babies are held to the mother's chest, right, to build that bonding between baby and mother.
Mm-hmm.
um So is it something like the ability to touch each other, touch skin to skin, or even just holding while the clothes are on, like without the perception of being over sexualized. Like it's just to be close to people, to build connections with people, to trust people is and not go straight to sex, right? It's just
Well, that
a
here's the
chance to get
thing, and
close. Like, yeah.
yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And the part about the baby, we're born into this world, and in the way that this is dealt with, mostly, I think. I don't know if it's not, then it's a sad thing. But I'm not going to comment on that more. But let's imagine the child being born and then placed on the mother's chest, and maybe nursing a little bit, but being there and being in the held space. And then throughout the childhood and adolescence, having this wonderful experience of being held and being rocked and, falling asleep in your mother's arms. One of the things that I encourage people to do, this is a little bit of a side note, as an educator, the single most important thing you can do for your child is to read to them and hold them on your lap, because they'll associate reading with comfort and support and love, and then develop a love for reading from that. So that's a little bit of a side note, a little advertisement for reading to your child. But we have this nurturing experience of touch up until at some point along the age, the sex arousal button gets turned on, and then and that is a loud experience. The hormones are pouring in there, and everything is, about this. And we go through a period of time of 5-10 years where that's the loudest desire that is that's present. Um, and then somewhere in our 20s or so, it's like, God, when was the last time I was held? And it wasn't about, having sex. And I've talked to people who years have gone by and nobody's held them or touched them. And then as we age,
Hmm.
sexuality becomes less of a driving force. I don't know if that's true for everybody, but let's just make a gross generalization and say that happens. And then
Yeah.
there's no touch at all. And there's one person in particular that I talked with about this, who was expressing that they hadn't been touched in years. And I said, well, you should come to a cuddle party and blah, blah. And they were like, I'm scared to open that up. I've got such a deep longing inside for that kind of platonic, nurturing, supportive touch. And that's one of the things that Cuddle Party encourages, is to rediscover what it's like to be held the same way that your mom or your dad or siblings held you when you were a baby.
Yeah. Right. To reconnect with our loved ones, to reconnect with our caregivers.
Yeah. And the caregiver within us. Holding, cuddling is um, not can be done alone, but mostly is done with other people. And so not only are you receiving nurturing touch, but it's a place where you can offer that up. And yeah, and given that permission keeps it from having the sort of creepy thing. People are like, ooh, cuddle party, that's creepy. It's like, no, it's the opposite of that.
It's the exact opposite.
It's the, yeah, it's where you don't get touched unless you verbally agree to it.
And that brings us to consent, right? Which
Mm.
is another thing that you emphasize in these cuddle parties.
Because that is huge.
Tell us about it.
Wow, it's a little bit concerned about where to begin. Consent
That's hot
is
topics, baby. Go for it.
consent is people having a shared agreement on how they're going to relate together.
Mhm.
And that's really important because it's different than permission. I can give you permission to do something that I don't consent to. Um, I'm trying to think of an example, um, and I can't offhand, but, but I'm sure it'll come to me. And maybe I could ask you, can you think of places where you were giving permission? Oh, me, wow, this is an extreme case, but having um, being questioned by the police. You might give
Yeah,
permission for that without consenting, but it's better than no. Signing the when you get a ticket for this happened to me. You get a ticket for not having a seatbelt on. And they said you have to sign it. So I don't want to sign it. Well, if you don't sign it, then you got to talk to the sergeant. I'm like, okay.
so it's giving permission out of fear, pretty much.
Well, permission could be there, whereas consent is an agreement, and they're different things. Permission also
Yeah,
has an element
go ahead.
of being a gatekeeper. Like I can permission to come in, permission to leave. As a teacher, I was giving permission to little slips to kids so that they could use the toilet. One of the worst parts of that job. Um, and consent is where everybody has an agreement on how things are going to be handled rather than being told.
What was that last part? The agreement on what?
On how we're going to relate together, rather than being told how we were going to relate together. Um, it involves the agreement and the enthusiastic agreement of people who are involved.
Right. So it's not. You could say yes. You. I think you said in the previous interview, you can, just because you gave consent, it doesn't mean that you wanted to give consent.
Right. Wasn't your first choice, and that's where that in consent, everyone is in agreement. With permission, one person has the power and another person doesn't. Frequently, and you're giving permission to do something is there where there's an imbalance of power. Not always, but consent always has a balance of power.
Yeah. I wanted to play a snippet from the first interview where we talk about that.
Sure.
So it could refresh your memory on that. Okay, so give me one second. Let me get my techie stuff together. Okay. Let me see if you recall this.
Sometimes I like to ask people who are inquiring, have you ever said yes to something and meant to say no? I've never encountered anyone who didn't say yeah. In fact, I might, if I'm feeling playful, say, how about this year? Or how about this week? Or how about today? Have you agreed to something that you would rather not? And Cuddle Party can help you with that because we teach and practice saying no, how to say no in a way that is a gift. Likewise, have you ever said no to something that you really wanted because you thought you didn't deserve it? Again, most people will relate to that. And Cuddle Party is about that. It's about asking for what you want and being able to receive what it is that you're desiring, what it is that you're needing in your life.
All right. What are your thoughts on hearing that?
God, I improved the lighting. Actually, I turned the room around. So yeah, I'm glad to know that the little lights that I bought here are working. Yeah, that's I love saying that, and I thank you for bringing that up. because I've asked Pete this question over and over. Have you ever said yes to something and you really wanted to say no? And I have never met anybody who couldn't relate to that question. Um, Partly because we've all had an experience as a child where mom said, take a bath, and you said no, and mom made you wish that you had said yes. Um, and so there's a consequence that comes with the no in so much of life. And it could be just having to deal with seeing somebody else being disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a great little bit. I'm going to use that. Use those questions. And the other one about saying no to something that you wanted because you thought you didn't deserve it. That's huge. People disappoint themselves because they're thinking, I couldn't do that. Who am I to ask for and receive what I want? And when somebody does it, sometimes we can get a little resentful. It's like, how come they get to ask for what they want? Well, because they did.
Mm-hmm.
They got what they want because they asked for it.
Yeah. All right. So let's bridge, let's connect this to Cuddle Party. So
Sure.
how do Cuddle Parties promote consent? How does it promote advocating for yourself? How do these Cuddle Parties do all these things that we're talking about right now?
Well, this is what the Welcome Circle and the Practicum is about. So Cuddle Party starts out with about an hour plus or minus a few minutes of what we call the Welcome Circle, which is the teaching. It's where we have some activities, and we start with what we call the no activity.
Mm-hmm.
Turn to the person next to you, and you're going to ask them a question, and they're going to say no. And then repeat the question back. And it might be something like, would you give me a hug? And I know you're going to say no. And you say no, and you feel the no, and I hear the no. And then we switch around, and you ask me the question, and I say no. And immediately people could start to feel uncomfortable with, I wouldn't say no to that. How does it feel in your body when you say no? It's a skill like anything else, and it requires some practice. And so we start off with practicing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first part of every Cuddle Party. And then we go through the rules. And there are rules of cuddling, and I post them up on the wall. And I'm not going to try to recite them up because I'm a little bit nervous, and I'm sure to forget one.
Okay.
Let's see. Do I dare try to? Pajamas stay on the whole time. You don't have to cuddle anybody if you don't want to. You have to ask and get a verbal yes before you touch anybody. If you're a yes, say yes. If you're a no, say no. If you're a maybe, say no. And you're encouraged to change your mind. Let's see. This is where I get messed up after sex. So I'm going to let you look them up rather than go through and perhaps embarrass myself. But we go through the rules, and we keep the rules of cuddling all the way to don't spill water on the cuddly space. And then immediately after this, there are a couple other activities involving yes and no and asking for what you want. And then we open the space up to the practicum, which is sometimes called free range cuddling. But it's kind of like the chemistry class you took in high school or biology, where you got a lecture and then you had to go into the lab and do the experiment. Well, this is the way Cuddle Party works. And I think in terms of consent training and this kind of personal growth, this is a relatively unique process or procedure where there's the teaching, and immediately after the teaching, you get a chance to practice it real life, you get to ask somebody for something that you might like, or offer something, or say, hey, you look like an interesting person. You want to sit down and talk about how we might connect better. But the point is, you get a practice, and the practice is long enough, usually about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, that you get to practice this with more than one person.
Mm.
And that's important because, well, for a number of reasons. But one is that if you're nervous as a person going into this, you're feeling a little bit uncertain and awkward, um, you might play this strategy where you'll find somebody who you think you could be with for a little bit and kind of take them prisoner. It's like, okay, you said yes, you're mine. I don't have to talk to anybody else while I'm here. And by having a practice that lasts for an hour or so, it gives you a chance to engage with somebody and then disengage and maybe get a snack or get a drink of water or find somebody else to cuddle with. And that's
Yeah.
actually an important part of this, is to avoid the strategy of taking somebody prisoner. It's like, you're my cuddle buddy. We're going to keep it that way from now forever.
Right. The it's the ability. You're practicing the ability to say no, to turn people down, as well
And
as the
the
ability
ability
to
to
say yes.
change your mind.
Yes.
Yeah, wow, that was great. Thank you very much for the great cuddle. I think I'm going to do something else now.
So, I mean, some people may be afraid to say that, which is the whole point. You
Everybody's
want to
afraid to
encourage
say that.
people. You got to push. You're pushing people.
Yeah, it being honest and communicating honestly what you would want isn't terribly can be and terribly intimidating and awkward. Partly because we don't practice asking for what we want. And why not? Yeah.
Oh, you're asking me, or is that?
Yeah. Why not? Why do people not ask for what they want?
um, I think it's. Oh, before I answer that, we got a public comment here.
Uh-huh.
Um, so true. So one of our viewers agrees with you. Hey, Jonisha. All right. So why don't we ask what we want? I think it's couple things. I think it could be trauma in that whenever we ask for what we want, we get shut down, and it's the way that it's not the fact that we got shut down. I think it's the way we got shut down. Um, so I'm just thinking about like little kids, and if there's an abusive parent in the household and they ask for what they want, the parent might yell at them, "No, shut up, get away from me," and that might make a child fearful about asking for what they want, and then of course that goes into adulthood. So the fear of rejection, and it might. I mean, I'm also thinking about it's a like a. I'm thinking about in terms of women, like, and there might like like there's a gender bias,
Mm.
like women asking for what they want is looked upon as um defiant. It's looked upon as, dare I say it, lesbianish. It's looked
Needy.
upon like like they're butch. They're trying to be like a man.
Mm.
That they're not fulfilling their roles as a woman. Um, and women are, they're supposed to be docile creatures and constrained. And so when women are bold like that, uh, they're shunned out by the male society. Um, That's kind of what that's what I'm
Mm.
thinking. But Janisha gave another comment. She said, people don't ask for what they want because they're afraid they won't get it. Okay,
Mm.
that's a fair point. Thank you, Jonisha. She also added, or they may get judged for it. Hmm. So
It's interesting that,
what's your response to all this? As
yeah,
you're
for
listening?
Janisha, am I saying that correctly?
Jonisha.
Janisha, that's a great point, about being afraid that you won't get it. I wonder sometimes if people are afraid that they will. That that
That they
might
will
be,
get it. That's
yeah, that
interesting.
they will, because then, if you ask for something and then get it, you're kind of stuck with it. It's like, yeah, you asked for this, you got it now, and that's why it's so important that along with asking for what you want, that you have the permission and the encouragement to change your mind. That those two have to go together. That you can ask for what you want, and you can get full, or you can find out, I thought that's what I wanted, but I find now that I have it, it's what I want. I wonder if you relate to that at all.
Hmm. That's an interesting point. That what, be careful what you ask for, right? We always say that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. She gave a next comment. She said, "When you get it, you won't know what to do with it." That sounds like she's agreed with you.
Yeah.
Thank you for these comments, Jonisha. This is awesome.
Thank you.
All right, all right. All right. So we got to return to the formalities. Okay.
Okay.
So I think you touched upon it a little bit, but what kind of people attend a cuddle party?
You,
Me.
people like you, yeah. Um, that is, I can't think of a type of people who don't. I've maybe had 50, 60 cuddle parties. I know people that have had many, many more than that. But um, is there a demographic? What happens generally, and I think that this has less to do with cuddle party and more to do with the way people are,
Hmm.
is you tend to attract people who are most like you. It would be unlikely if I were to have a cuddle party that everyone who came would be 22 years old. Not that it couldn't be possible, and I might have a cuddle party at a university or something, specifically for that. You tend to attract people who are most like you, because those are the people who are going to be comfortable with you as a facilitator and as the person who's putting it on. So, so if I were to reframe the question in my mind, what kind of people don't come to a cuddle party? And I don't think, I can't think of a sort of a class or a type of person. Maybe somebody who is willing to feel awkward, because it's a little bit awkward, particularly when you first get to a cuddle party and it's your first one and you're there and you're looking around the room and you're like, who are these people? And do I have anything in common with anyone? And will anyone talk to me? And will anyone be friendly? And all of this, inside brain monkey thing can go on. And you have to be willing to experience that.
Yeah.
Um, but it doesn't mean you can't be shy. It just means that you have to be willing to um, be present in your own uncomfortableness.
Yeah. People who are willing to be uncomfortable.
Becoming comfortable with your uncomfortableness. Yeah, I think there's a Buddhist woman who wrote a book about that. I can't think of her name right offhand.
Hmm. Being comfortable with being uncomfortable. It sounds like a mantra right there. All right, so we got another public question. Jonisha says, "How do you advertise for a cuddle party?"
Wow, that's the biggest question that people have when they become certified as a cuddle party. It's about becoming visible. Um, When I started having cuddle parties, I was already here in San Diego and had a community of people who I knew, so it was not so much of an issue there. Meetup works really well for people. Facebook sometimes works, but they're really weird about who they allow to see your posts. I was talking with somebody the other day who was going to put up a flyer at the local organic food store. Those are a few off the talking to people about cuddle parties and encouraging people who have been to cuddle parties to talk with their friends. Probably the most way that people end up getting invited to and attending a cuddle party is if somebody else